Hey, it's Jay, checking in with the first 7 chapters of Fleet of Knives, number 2 in the Ember of War series. Yes, I did my review of book number 1, and have quickly sauntered on into book number 2, Fleet of Knives, where we have a basically a pirate ship who has decided it's going to try and board a ancient ship that has been flying in through kind of hyperspace, but kind of a slow hyperspace for like thousands of years, and is gonna go on is gonna go on to it. And they're sort of desperate. They need the money, even though it's kind of illegal to do. And some kind of creature or something swoops at them, grabs the ship, shakes it in its jaws, and they end up bouncing up against this the ancient ship they were going to pirate, and the ship is going down. It's going to decompress, and so they're going to have to get in pressure suits and skip over to this ancient thing to take refuge, making um, the dying ship, putting out a distressing signal to the House of Reclamation as it does. So that's the first thing. Uh, Ona Sudek, whatever her name is, as a when she was a fleet captain who gave the order to kill the sentient forest and several thousands of people, both soldiers and non-combatants who were living amongst the forest, has been sentenced to death and is about to get taken out and shot by a firing squad, and has this kind of the usual kind of exchange with the Reverend, which, it's like, do you have any things of regret? It's like, no, I followed orders and I don't regret. I think I did what was best. It's like, you think you're just, it's like, no, I just think I did what was best, and I followed the orders. But that doesn't happen. Some kind of squad of black clad mercenaries come, murder everybody, including that priest, and takes her, and they don masks and goggles, and the ship is apparently about to go right into the water, which is like, what the fuck, are you crazy? And that's as far as we get in that story. Sal, because of was figuring that she was going to get court-martialed for losing her medical officer at the beginning of the first book. That doesn't happen. They think, oh well, we decided you deserve a second chance. That's uncharacteristically generous of the elders of the House of Reclamation. It's like, well, she's also come back with a gigantic alien fleet of ships that seem to all want to answer to Trouble Dog. She there is a hearing about the death of George, the medical officer, which Clay, a friend of George and other ship crew member, so kind of security tough, she testifies against Sal, and they have to kind of come to a bit of terms with that. They have, what I have to say, I still feel like is kind of, I feel like Powell is kind of reaching for a certain kind of gritty, hard-earned kind of dialogue between these two, but it comes off as kind of trite, kind of cliche. It's not coming to my head right now, but it's like the more that it kind of leans into the dour, the less convincing it is. The adventure bits are more interesting. They kind of come to an agreement. She says, like, I had to. He was my friend. I had to testify against you. Do you hold that against me? He's like, nah. And it's like, not really. Doesn't really. She's she feels guilty and feels like she should have more should be done to against her. She has a permanent black mark on her record, but that's it. And she, so she feels, the guilt of it. And it's like, oh, she and Trouble Dog are both sisters because they both had to kill kind of their close mates. She had to kill the admiral. Trouble Dog, had to kill one of her sister ship that was all a part of the same batch, cloned from the same human female warrior. So that was like, There's some guy that is following them. It turns out it's one of the factions, not the faction that they're from, but the other one, the Protectorate, I think it is. There's consolidated, and there's Protectorate, and they're like, well, you seem to have command of this alien fleet. It's like, look, we do not have command of this alien fleet. We turn them over to the House of Reclamation. You ask them what they're going to do with it, because it's not ours. So that is about where we are so far with Fleet of Knives, this gigantic alien space fleet, which is apparently just orders and orders and orders of magnitude larger than any other, the combined might of all the factions and stuff like that are battling out and just aching to get back at war. And probably whoever snatched up Onasudak is a part of one of these factions and is wanting to push things towards battle and war and stuff like that again. So hopefully it will focus more on the adventure, and we'll have all this throat clearing stuff. We had kind of Onasudak saying things like, there's no afterlife. There's only now, and then there's the void, and just kind of all this kind of. I don't find Powell that convincing in all of this stuff. He's trying hard, but yeah, it feels more like stuff that you would hear in the movies than in a kind of a genre movie sort of thing, versus in a more grounded, felt experience of this kind of destruction and this kind of pain that there might be in the world. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.